Call to order the Finance Committee meeting, Thursday, May 14th. Y'all stand for the prayer and the pledge. Dear Lord, we ask you tonight to give us grace in an ever more chaotic world, it seems. I would just ask for your peace to help us get through the task ahead of us and to follow the example set by your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. All members present except for Councilman Kent Shakespeare. Chair's additions there are none. And public comment period. If you wish to speak, please come fill out a speaker card. Number 5, Lamar Dixon report. Mr. Eddie Crawford.
Evening, Council. We are here tonight to report our March financial statement. You can see page 1 is our comparative statement. Revenues, expenses, changes in funds, assets. It's a historical sheet of where we've been from inception. As you can see down there at the bottom, we have $80,000 in cash remaining, fund balance of $275,685. Page 2 gives you the highlights for the month of March. We had a profit of $15,013. Not quite as well as we'd hoped to do, but still a profit nonetheless. We did the Sportsman Show. You may remember that the first night of that show got not quite rained out, but certainly impacted by the weather. So that didn't help us quite as much. The second page, third page. The highlighted numbers there, it's our other operating income. Again, as we've talked about over the years, the RV business is certainly helping us defer some of our costs. Page 4, financial highlights for the first quarter. We have a $30,338 profit at this point. And as you can see, the positive variance for at this time of the year, we have a positive $47,483. Page 5, again, the first 3 columns are kind of a recap of the month. As you come from the left across, the other 3 columns show the year-to-date actual versus budget and a variance. Right now at this time we have a positive variance of $50,633. And down at the bottom we'll show our combined income. As you can see, the positive variance down there is $157,321. So the first quarter we've done pretty well. Page 6 is our balance sheet. And page 7 will show you our accounts receivable. Still working to get some of those cleared up. I believe there's 40 days left on the contract, and we should be working hard to get those all resolved. Tonight we have the East Ascension the Santa Maula graduation going on tonight at our main arena, and East Ascension graduation will be Friday night. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
I see you carrying this YMCA Ascension Parish $21,000 on the books, receivables from the YMCA through December. What is that?
That was, I believe that was from 2008. We had that in our original budget, and the parish did not pay for those months, so we are either looking for a credit against the budget. We're kind of finalizing our audit now, so we'll be looking for either a credit or something. It was in our original budget plan.
So the Y you saying left in June?
They did not leave in June. The payments no longer came since June of 2008. From inception, from 2005. I think they're doing the $3,000 a month payment.
And when the Y left, did we check the building? Did anybody go in and check?
There was walkthrough. Flo McGee and one of the I believe the Y manager walked that facility.
Were they held accountable for the
almost all of the equipment in there was theirs. There are some painting issues and drywall, but it's in fair order.
Okay. So we need to resolve this 21,000 some kind of way.
Correct. We'll be working with finance and S&G.
Okay, thank you.
Eddie, on the accounts receivable stuff, the two biggest outstanding are government entities. Is there something that we need to do as far as, I mean, not, bureaucratic government procedures or something like that? Is there something we can assist with? Or
We're working with administration right now. I think it's just an issue that I believe the money will probably come from FEMA with some of these restock issues. So
Okay.
I think it's just going to be a waiting situation.
Okay. Other questions from the committee? None? Okay, thank you. Item number 6, contracts report. Mr. Cedric Grant.
As we discussed in the new established finance procedures there, we would report monthly all contracts that were signed during the month period, and that's what you see before you here. I think you'll see a lot of familiar things on this list of things that have been approved by the council and have subsequently executed. We'll be providing this report every month. If there's any questions on any particular item, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Dempsey Lambert?
Mr. Grant, I noticed we approved the leasing of the equipment. When will that take effect?
The
You ready?
leased equipment is on the yard.
It's on the yard now?
Sir.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant. We'll move on to item number 7, our monthly sales and use tax report.
Good evening, members of the Finance Committee, Parish President. First of all, we'll look at the sales and use tax report. It's your regular report that you're probably very familiar with by now. The first column across is East Ascension Consolidated Gravity Drainage District. They have a 1.5 cent sales tax that they collect on the entire east side of the river, including the municipalities. And then the middle one is the Sales and Use Tax District number 1, and that's our 1 cent sales tax that's collected in the entire rural areas of the parish, excluding the 3 municipalities. And then the last one is our Sales and Use Tax District number 2, which is our 1/2 cent sales tax that is collected in the entire parish in the rural areas outside the 3 municipalities. If you bring your attention to the April collections, you will see a cross on each of the sales tax districts that sales taxes are down for the month of April compared to collections in April '08. Drainage, 3.92% down. The 1 cent sales tax down 1.02%, and the 1/2 cent sales tax down 1.26%. It's a slight dip, but it shows that this is the first time our sales taxes have decreased since for exactly 2 years ago. So we've been going up every month for 2 years until this point. And then for the year to date, January through April, compared to '08, you can see that they're still up considerably.
Before you move on, didn't we have a month in October, I think, where there was we had a dip in collections and sales tax?
I checked, and it was 2 years ago exactly that the month went down.
Maybe I know it wasn't all of them across the board, but I thought there was one month because I was
Okay.
getting worried then that the recession, might be impacting us after all.
Exactly.
But you said it's been a couple of years since we've had it?
Exactly, 2 years.
And is there any thoughts as to Why? Is there any particular sector that's not?
No, as we go through, you'll see the sectors that are down, but I don't think that's the contributing factor. I think it's overall that the chemical manufacturing has slowed as consumers continue to cut back on their purchases of durable goods. And I did get two local economists, their predictions, and they're cautiously optimistic in their predictions that the recession will end in the second half of 2009 and recovery will start thereafter. But they also warned that if this national recession continues to fall well into 2010, that we can expect to see our chemical sector start laying off and that they will maybe idle some plants that they have, which in turn will negatively impact that consumer spending again and flowing into our economy, which in turn negatively impacts our retail sectors also. So I guess right now we're just in a wait and see mode, and hopefully, I know we're all hopeful that the predictions that they both had, that it will end in, the recession itself will end in the second half of 2009, will become a reality. So if you turn the page, you'll see that this is just the half-cent sales tax, this bar chart, and it's a year-to-date depiction of what's going on from January to April again. And you can see that consumer retail, the red bar is 09. You can see the consumer retail is up 9.4%. And motor vehicles has always been down since the recession started, and the earliest one to take a dive. And it is down 11.6%, and business to business is down 12.8%. But then again, the petrochemical industry and their suppliers are up 23.7%. And then the next chart is a pie chart, and this again represents the collections in just the 1 cent from January through April of 09. And it, as always, it's just a quick look at to let you know where we're collecting our sales taxes. It's not scientific. It was created by the Sales and Use Tax Authority. And you can see that the petrochemical industry and their suppliers represent 53% of the collections in that time frame. And consumer retail represents 32%, whereby motor vehicles represents 10%, and business to business 5%. And then the last bar chart is just a 10-year history of the prior 10 years of the 3 sales tax districts, and you can easily see the peaks and valleys of those collections during that time. On the national level, I think the nation experiences a recession, whether it's long-term or short-term, every 10 years, and this one is one of the longer terms so far. If you have any questions, more questions.
About the sales tax report?
Gwen, I have a question.
Sure.
Mr. Parrish, President?
On the half-cent drainage tax, I mean, you're on the sales tax authority. What are the cities doing now, since they don't have the petrochemical industry to actually, they don't collect in that sector? Are they sales tax up or down? Or are they hanging
flat.
about the same?
They're flat. I think Donaldsonville's is, slightly down. Gonzales is flat. And Sorrento, I think, is either slightly down or flat.
Councilman Jessup?
Yes, Ms. Gwen, I know you recently just said that we hopefully that tax will come up in the second half, but just based on how the economy nationwide, we wouldn't impact. This is the first time we've been impacted.
Right.
The nation was impacted about 8 months ago.
Exactly.
So-
Louisiana has been,
Pretty good.
Yeah, coming into Johnny come lately on the good end of the story.
We're almost in the 6th month. So if we keep going at the rate right now, because we behind time, then we will end up this whole year if it's going to keep falling. So we might end up strictly just a negative across the board. That's a possibility, correct?
Yeah, it's a possibility, but, We still have, some cushion here.
Okay, so we'll still be okay. We'll be,
We're still ahead of our budget by 16, 17%, 15%, and 7%.
okay. All right. That's it.
Councilman Klua.
Yeah, Gwen, on this, the third page bar chart, the yellow and red, just to clear up with everybody that the 2009, the last column, the last red column, that's just year-to-date, right?
That's just what? I beg your pardon?
It's just year-to-date right now?
Yes, year-to-date, and
Com-
it just represents the 1 cent sales tax.
But it's comparative of, when you look back at '08, it's not comparative to '08 in the same month section.
Yes, it is.
It is?
January to April, in comparing that '09 year-to-date to the same time frame in '08.
So all the other years in that same time frame.
Oh, the history chart, the last chart?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong
Yeah.
chart. Now, go ahead, what? One more time?
Yeah, just looking at the short dollar value in '09.
Right.
On all three of them, that's just year-to-date for
Right.
that particular year, for
Right.
'09. And the other columns represent
Complete
the
year.
full year.
Exactly. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I
So
misunderstood.
the chart really, it looks,
Could we-
without that, the clarification, it don't look good when you're looking at the chart, that's all.
Oh,
I just want to make sure.
no,
everybody
right,
understands
right.
that.
Could we maybe-
Well, the 10 years, I didn't count '09, I counted '99 to 2008. It's
Yeah.
full years.
Gwen, could we, I think that's a good suggestion, if we could basically trend out '09 for the, so that we could kind of see, based on how we're trending over the first few months, if we could just kind of trend it out,
We can.
that'd be good.
I thought about that today, Councilman Lower, that we could show you on each one where their line is at the same time frame.
Yeah, you could take the '09 line and show the
Yeah.
red and then just put a blue up above it as far as
Right.
trending.
Will do for the next
It's
meeting.
scary when you look at it. Like,
Any other questions? Okay, next
Okay.
up, we have the revenue and expense report.
Okay, the revenue and expense report will be given by Amanda Barat, and the discussion and introduction to the second amendment to the 2009 budget will be given by Dawn Cavallero. So Amanda?
Good evening. This is the financial report for March 2009. We are at 25% of the year. The total operating revenue budget is at 24.63%. The capital revenue budget is at 9.606%. The total revenues are at 23.26%. The items that are highlighted in green are the revenue codes that are below the 25% level at this point. On page 4 of the packet, it'll give you an explanation of the reasons for the codes being under budget. Most of them are due to some of them are due to sales taxes. The money that came in January was accrued back to 2008, so there's really only 2 months of sales taxes reflected in this report. Some of them are due to interest not allocated to the end of the year, but we are monitoring them. At this point of the year, they are at their expected revenues of what we expect them to be at this point. Some of the capital project ones some of them are grants. They're reimbursable grants, so we don't get the money back until after the money is expended, so we're not showing revenue on those. The next page is your expenditure report. Your expenditure budget is operating budget is at 24.20%. Your capital budget is at 20.50%. Your total expenditure is at 23.25%. Again, the green items are in this case, the green items highlighted are items that are above the 25% level, and the majority of them are due to encumbrances for POs and contracts that's encumbered for the whole year. The next page is just a chart that just gives you an idea of where the revenues and expenditures are compared to where the budget is. And then the next 2 pages are your explanations, and the final page is a listing of all disbursements that exceeding $100,000 for the month of March. There were 9 checks that were issued that were over the $100,000 amount, and the total of all of them were $4,419,732.79. And you can see who they made out to and what they were for.
So, I guess a little bit of good news, with even though the sales tax collections were down last month, which certainly gives you pause. Overall, we are still under budget in terms of expenses, and we're still exceeding our revenue for the year.
Right, because we're at the total expenditure budget's at 23.24, but that is due to a lot of contracts and POs that have been issued to cover the whole year. That's included in that, so, yeah.
Okay. Questions? Yes. Councilman Kluwer?
Yeah, just looking on your bar chart, you actually, y'all accrue everything, even if it's something for the full 12 months of the year. If it
It's
happens
encumbered.
in the 3rd month, you go ahead and accrue all of that.
Right.
Okay,
We encumber it
Yeah.
for the whole year, right.
thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, great, thanks. Next item we have is item number 9, the 2009 Budget Amendment number 2. Mr. Cedric Grant. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms.
No.
Dawn.
Yes. Good evening. You have before you an ordinance for Budget Amendment Number 2, which reads as follows. An ordinance to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2009 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on the 20th day of November, 2008. Section 1. The Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains that the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2009 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension is hereby amended, approved, and appropriated as follows. Operating budget. Under this is listed the Bayou Terrace Bond Fund. Expenditures are for pavement maintenance in the amount of $62,475. This amount represents the fund balance in the Bayou Terrace Bond Fund that DPW will be using for the Bayou Terrace road maintenance. We have here present DPW engineer Jackie Bowman, who is available if you have any questions pertaining to this particular project.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Pat Bell. Any discussion? Councilman Todd Lambert?
And basically, this is going to take place over, they got 2 S curves on Bayou Terrace. This is going to help widen both of them curves, is what this money is allocated for.
Okay, any further discussion? Have a motion and a second. Any objection? Motion carries. Item number 10, the BASF Quality Jobs Program. You'll recall that we discussed this at last month's Finance Committee meeting, and there were a couple of takeaways from that meeting. One of them was that we wanted a economic impact study with more details on the number of jobs and the increased revenues for the economic impact. There is an item in your packet from the Baton Rouge Area Chamber that details that. Also, there was some interest in involving other government entities and taxing bodies to see if they'd be willing to partake in this as well, and those discussions are moving forward. We were not able to get all the details and everything worked out, so but I think we will have that for early next week. So what I'd like to ask is that we pass a resolution moving this on to council for next week.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Thompson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bell. Any further discussion? Any objection? So moved. Item number 11, Gulf Industries Incorporated Pavement Markings Contract, 2008-RS-01, change order number 2 in the amount of $2,424.50.
Good evening, gentlemen. DPW is asking your approval of this change order in the amount of $2,424.50 to pavement markings This contract was parish-wide road striping. We were asked to add some stop bars and some edge lines as safety features, and we recommend approval of this change order.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Thompson, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Item 12, contracts. Renewal of contract with Guidry Associates LLC for an additional 2 years at the same yearly cost of $24,000.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Thompson, second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. Any discussion?
This was,
Councilman Thompson?
yes, this was an item that was discussed at the River Region meeting that was held, and it's just going from 1 year to a 2-year contract with no additional fees.
Anyone have any questions?
Additional 1 year? Yeah. Additional 2 years, excuse me.
Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Item number 13, bids. 13A, the All-Steel Railroad Bridge and Flat Car.
On April 29, 2009, the Purchasing Department received one bid for all-steel railroad bridge deck and flat car. The bid was received from Smith Diversified Railcar. After review, the Purchasing Department and East Ascension Drainage Department recommend accepting the lowest qualifying bid from Smith Diversified Railcar.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bell,
Second.
second by Councilman Kluwat. Any discussion? Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parish President might be able to answer. Flat cars, are we still using? I thought we were kind of eliminated using flat cars for off-road bridges. I guess we are back.
I kind of would hope that we would, because one thing, they hard to put in, and you got to build up approaches.
I see, yeah, we're ordering some.
I don't know if these are some that Mr. Rue had ordered for projects that he had promised out, or given replace some older bridges. I don't know, but they're not very safe. They're not wide, and you know, I just think you know, you have a new policy that you're out going pretty much out of the bridge
Right, that's what I was
building
wondering.
business. Now we do have a lot of timber at Public Works to build bridges, but if we're not building bridges, we need to maybe look at doing something with that timber. So I don't know.
Thank you, sir.
So West Ascension could use a little bit.
We will find, we get.
But I will, Mr. Lambert, I will find out on that. I will call you
All right,
and
thank
give you, I asked the same, when I started, I asked the same thing.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On April 29, 2009, the Purchasing Department received one bid for the Official Journal. The bid was received from the Gonzales Weekly Citizen. After review, the Purchasing Department recommends accepting the lowest qualifying bid from the Gonzales Weekly Citizen.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On April 29, 2009, the Purchasing Department received one bid for reinforced concrete pipe. The bid was received from Capital Concrete Products. After review, the Purchasing Department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest qualifying bid from Capital Concrete Products.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Randy Kluwat. Any discussion?
I'm
Mr.
gonna
President.
ask Ms. Jones again. We've got one bid again, huh? Seems like they got a lot of people sell pipe. Do we can't?
We got a lot of requests for the specs, but only one bid.
Specs just maybe geared to that pipe.
I don't think so. The specs were pretty generic.
Okay.
I got a quick question.
Councilman Kluwat?
Yeah, just one bid on a lot of things. Do we ever do an internal bid to just actually make some calls to see if other people, not if they want to bid on it, but if other people actually have that pipe that we're speccing, or that rail car that we're speccing, or that piece of wood that we're speccing.
Pre-bid conference, yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna put Wade on the spot real quick here. As far as when we post things in the Citizen, is there an online section people can go look at any time to look at the notices?
This time we don't have the bids on.
Is that something we can look at to try to increase visibility and?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
We put it online through purchasing.
It's
We have electronic
online,
bids
yeah. Okay.
online also.
And effective the last finance meeting, we've increased it from the Weekly Citizen, the Chief, our online site, and the Advocate.
Good.
Ought to be out there then.
Okay. All right, great. Next up, Ms. Joe.
On April 29, 2009, the Purchasing Department received 3 bids for SCBA Firehawk. The bids were received from BGS, Casco Industries, and Southland Fire and Safety. After review, the Purchasing Department and Fire District Number 3 recommend accepting the lowest qualifying bid from Casco Industries.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On April 8, 2009, the Purchasing Department received 1 bid for self-priming pumps. The bid was received from Cadre. After review, the Purchasing Department and Health Utilities Department recommend accepting the lowest qualifying bid from Cadre.
Motion, Mr.
Motion by
Chairman.
Councilman Bell. Second. Second by Councilman Kluwer. Discussion? Objection? Motion passes.
On April 29, 2009, the Purchasing Department received 2 bids for traffic control signs. The bids were received from Osborne Associates Incorporated and Traffic Control. After review, the Purchasing Department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest qualifying bid from Osborne Associates Incorporated.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Carlin. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Motion adjourned by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. Meeting's adjourned.